What's going on, everybody? Not sure if y'all can hear me just yet. Working on getting the stream up at the moment. What's going on, everybody? Am I live? I'm not sure. Let me check. All right, seems like some people are hopping in here. All right, sounds good. I actually figured out this streaming software. I am actually pretty surprised by that. What's going on, everybody? Nice to see some people getting in here. Yeah, it won't be long now before September. That's right, Mike. I kind of wanted to do this one tonight because there's a reverb. Oh shoot. Hmm. Um. Let me see if I can figure that out. All right. Did that? Hopefully that cut that out. But yeah. With only like a month away, I wanted to do this live stream tonight and talk a little waterfowl with y'all. So audio is echoing. Huh. Okay. Dang it. All right. Did that do it? Sorry, we're doing a little bit of trial and error here, just seeing if I can get this figured out. All right, I think that fixed it. Okay, so topic tonight is we're going to be talking about my waterfowl research project, which I brought up during the channel update video, and then also y'all left me some questions on YouTube and then also on Instagram, so I'm going to be answering those. So we're going to start off with a quick Q&A portion, then I'm going to move into the research part, and you guys can keep asking questions. I'll try and keep up with them. This is kind of hard with one person to talk and keep up with the chat, so I'm going to try my best here, and then we'll wrap up with some more Q&A. So first off, we had some questions over on the YouTube. Actually, let me be right back. I have to go grab my phone, but I'll be back in 1 second. Okay. Okay, so we are going to answer some questions to kick this off. I'm going to pull those up on my phone. Sorry, I should have had this already ready, but running a little behind. All right, so from the YouTube, we had 7 questions over here. So Riley Davis asked, first off, can you explain in detail to go wood duck calls? Been trying for a while. Any tips would be appreciated. So for wood duck calling, there's really one key. Literally make the water sounds. Yeah. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, like Daddy Duck 365 just said. But there's, if you can make the sitting sounds, you can get wood ducks in. The issue is a lot of people make the flying sounds. I actually made a full video or a part of a video on this titled 8 Wood Duck Hunting Tips. It goes in depth on the sound you need to make. So go check out that video if you haven't already, Riley, and then get back to me and I can work over it with a little bit finer with you if you need some more stuff for that. Nathan asked, for someone just getting into duck hunting, what types and amount of decoys would you recommend? Uh, Honestly, he asked, are multiple species really important, or will a dozen mallards get it done? For me, I think if you can start out with a dozen mallards, that'll work fine for you. There's no need to get any more specific than that when you don't know what you're going to be hunting. So, basically figure out what you're going to be hunting, what you're going to need, and then buy stuff. I feel like people buy stuff a lot of times before figuring out what they need. And that just, that ends up with you biting yourself in the butt a lot of times. All right, so it seems like we have a few people in here, and I kind of want to talk about this research thing off the bat. So I said I'd answer these questions. We will get back to the questions, but I want to talk research first off because I feel like that was kind of the main thing with this video. So, for those of you that don't know, I study environmental science. That's my degree in college, and a big part of that degree is getting fields or hands-on research experience. There's a lot of talk about, in the general world today about, college and college not really being as worthwhile as it used to be. But for me, it's worth it in the way that I get it. I use it as an end to be able to get research experience, which is really tough to get. And it's really what you kind of need at the next level. So for me, I eventually want to get a PhD. I want to be studying waterfowl full time. That's what I want to do for my job. So I needed to get hands-on research experience, and basically, my college offers a summer program that allows students to work with faculty members during the summer and do hands-on research. So I applied for that program last year. I was accepted to it, and it was supposed to be for all of July, or all of June, and all of July. Supposed to be an in-person project where we were going to be studying crayfish, because the professor that I work with, his main study sort of deal is crayfish. So I've actually been working with crayfish for like the past year, which is kind of weird. If people talk to me, they'd be like, "What, you study crayfish? That's weird," especially for someone so interested in waterfowl like myself. So I've been doing that for like a year, and then when COVID hit, we couldn't obviously be on campus anymore, so they sent us home, and our crayfish research kind of got thrown out the window because of that. So we were left, and basically, I'm sorry, I got to go back. Basically, they said, we're not going to be doing an in-person program anymore during this summer. This is going to be an online program, and you're going to have to kind of come up with a new project if you were doing lab research, which is what we were doing. We were basically, uh, quick sidetrack, but we were basically taking an invasive crayfish and a native crayfish and putting them together and seeing how they competed with each other to be able to gain an understanding of the issues that invasive crayfish were going to be able to pose to the native crayfish in our area. But like I said, that project went out the window. We couldn't do lab work anymore. They said, you're going to get a month. It's going to be all over Zoom. And basically, do what you're going to do, figure out what you're going to do, but you have to basically redo your whole project. So it was kind of crazy for us. We had this whole plan. We'd been doing it the whole year, doing this research, doing this research, doing this research. And then all of a sudden it's like, no more. But it worked out really, really well for me because my professor is really into waterfowl. He's more of a birder than a hunter. But between him and myself, we decided we wanted to do a waterfowl project for our 1 month online program. And I work with another undergraduate student. And she's not super into waterfowl, but she was cool with the project too. So what we decided to do was to study. One second, I'm going to pull something up here real quick. Just 1 second. Okay, so yeah, so we decided we were going to study basically waterfowl in the mid-Atlantic region of the United States. Or basically, we were going to look at population dynamics of waterfowl in the mid-Atlantic region of the United States because one, that's the region that we're in. I live in Virginia. That's the part of the mid-Atlantic region by most accounts. Um, and it's a region that was known for waterfowl, but isn't probably known so much anymore. That you have the Chesapeake Bay, you have Maryland, you have Delaware, you have a lot of really historic waterfowling areas that not aren't the center of waterfowling in the U.S. anymore. Um, Sorry, I'm all over the place with this, but basically, we wanted to look at kind of the Chesapeake Bay and the surrounding areas and see how waterfowl populations had done in that region over the past 70 years. So, what we decided to basically study was, I'm going in circles here. Sorry, guys. Basically, what we decided to look at was wintering populations in this region. So we do have some waterfowl that breed in the Mid-Atlantic region. We have some waterfowl that winter in the Mid-Atlantic region. We wanted to look at wintering populations in this region. And so we couldn't do field research. We had COVID going on. We had to do something over the internet, something where we could still do a study, but we wouldn't be generating any new information, which is pretty much it's a tough thing to do. A lot of research, especially at the collegiate level, is lab research, hands-on research, and that was, like I said, no longer an option. So we settled on using a pretty cool thing and something I never knew about before I started this project, and that's called the Christmas bird count. So the Christmas bird count is an annual bird survey done by the Audubon Society, and they basically count waterfowl right around the Christmas period for 24 hours in a certain area. And by doing this, they have built a long-term database. So we had access to that database, and we could basically go in and look at 70 years worth of population trends that most other people didn't have the time or hadn't been able to look at before. So we picked 62 different Christmas bird count circles. The way the Christmas bird count works is like they pick places all over, the United States, and then people meet in that location and count the birds within a 15-mile radius or whatever. So we were able to go in and basically pick a bunch of these different circles within the range that we wanted to study. Uh, and first, I should have said this earlier, but basically, the area that we decided to study was the coastal plain of Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina. And we basically said that's east of 95 in Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina. And then we studied all of Delaware. So we ended up having 62 Christmas bird count circles. And then for each of those circles, we had to take the data for each species and pull the data out of this database. And then we ran linear regression analysis for each species for all 62 count circles across 4 states, and then looked at that trend. So we got a really good, really solid statistical data set because we had so many different count circles and um, so many different data points. And then we had this wide range of species. We studied 29 species in total, 24 duck species, 3 geese species, 2 swan species. So we ended up just generating a huge amount of not data, because we didn't generate any data. That's the cool thing with the study. We used data that other people had already generated, but we ended up with a huge amount of trends, I guess would be the best way to say it, and those just tell us a lot. That's the thing. Like, with our end goal with this paper was to obtain trends, was to gain an understanding of what has changed in terms of bird numbers over the past 70 years, and what does that say in terms of habitat changes, or anything else. I hope I've hit everything I meant to. Yeah, basically, and the end goal of this study was, it's it's to identify problems, but also to identify solutions. We wanted to see if there's any species that have been doing really poorly during this time period, and we're going to get into that in just 1 second. But we also wanted to see if there's any species that have done really well. And then by studying those cases of species that haven't done well and studying those cases of species that have done well, you gain an understanding of maybe some correlations, which correlation isn't causation, but you gain an understanding of some of what could be root causes or issues that are developing within the avian community. So that was a very long-winded way of basically saying that I spent a month doing Excel. I basically, we did all this work in Excel. We were, like I said, pulling data out of a data set. So great background setup. So what's the conclusions? Yeah, thank you, Yup, for getting me back on track. This is a little bit tough. But basically, our conclusions were, we have a lot of species declining, and we saw a 36% decline between the 1950s and 2010 in this region. So like I said, that's the specific region that we talked about. The eastern portion of Virginia, the eastern portion of Maryland, the eastern portion of North Carolina, Delaware. We saw a 36% total waterfowl abundance decline between 1950 and 1950s and the 2010s, which isn't to say that's the case across the board. There was variations from state to state. Some states did better, some states did worse. I'll say overall, Virginia had the largest overall decline in waterfowl abundance. So that is a little bit upsetting for me as a Virginian, but I understand why. North Carolina has not seen the declines that the rest of the state saw, and I'd say that's probably due to habitat add them adding a lot of habitat. If you look at the states, which is one thing we did, we kind of went and did a state by state analysis. North Carolina has, in general, had the best, some of the best public land, public land management programs. Had some a lot of private habitat added as well. So uh, yeah, let me answer some questions here. I want to take a little break. I just basically went on like a 15-minute monologue. Um, so what do I want to do as my job? Basically, I want to either be a waterfowl researcher or a waterfowl manager. So I either want to study waterfowl and kind of population trends or specific species. I'm not really sure. There's a lot of different avenues. You know, there's waterfowl biologists that work for states and stuff like that. And I think that would be pretty cool. But also, I'd like to also, I'd be interested also in being more of a waterfowl manager. So maybe managing habitat for waterfowl instead of doing scientific studies like this. But I really do like the science side of things. I'm just not super thrilled in that a lot of the stuff with the science side of waterfowl seems to be really intertwined with universities, and I'd kind of like to get out of the university landscape, especially out of college. So no, this study was basically, like I said, it's a program that was put on by my college, and then that's why we did the research. But basically, it was just a project me and the professor and then our other undergraduate partner came up with. Oh, you do the Christmas bird count every? That's super cool. So like now, I personally want to participate in the Christmas bird count. I think it's super cool, and it's something that it's done by birders primarily, I believe. I don't want to say that without me knowing for sure, but I feel like it's primarily done by birders, but it adds so much to waterfowl conservation. It was such a huge resource for us to be able to use. And like, I honestly don't think we could have done our project without the Christmas bird count. We would have had to do something else. So yeah, literature review is a huge part of this. And I should have said this right off the bat. The reason that I'm doing a live stream with this instead of publishing a video is because this is unpublished research. I'm going to make a whole video once we publish this research, and I'll show you all figures and we'll go really in depth with everything. But because this is unpublished research, I kind of have to do a general broad overview. And having this peer reviewed is going to be a huge step of it. We have to still get this past, another huge hurdle. This isn't finished research. We still have to get it over that next hurdle. That's what I'm going to be tackling this fall. So that is a huge thing to say. The review, well, actually, literature review is a little bit of a different topic, and I read that wrong. But peer review is going to be the next step for this research. It's getting slow. From Winston-Salem. So I would love to be able to show y'all figures. Like I'd like to be able to show you figures, Jordan, but I just can't yet. And like I said, gonna do a whole video on this later on. Hopefully, I'll do a lot less rambling than I just did. What got you into duck hunting? What got me into duck hunting was actually partially my father. So my dad used to do some duck hunting, and he, kind of he would talk about it from time to time. But I shot my first ever duck while deer hunting. We were deer hunting. I've gone over the story, but basically we were deer hunting, and then we saw ducks swimming on this mountain creek, and then we went and jump shot them. So that was like my first taste of duck hunting, and I thought that was super cool. And that got me hooked a little bit. And then I went on a duck hunt with my uncle like a year later, and that really was kind of what made me want to do duck hunting after that. And then after that, I was watching YouTube videos and everything else, and Eventually, once I got my driver's license at 16, I was like, I'm just going to become a duck hunter now. I had a few tastes of it, and that's really when I kind of just went full on, uh, went after it. How did the widgeon mount turn out? I haven't got my widgeon mount back yet. Basically, the taxidermist that I use has a really long waiting period. He's really good, but because he's really good, he has a long waiting period. So I'm supposed to get it back this month. I will do a video for y'all once I get it back. I'm really excited to get that mount back. I'm hoping it's going to be awesome. It should be awesome. So I'm going to get that back very, very soon. That's the hope. Yup. So yeah, I'm hoping this is gonna be a big booster. This research is research in general it has been stressed to me. At least I haven't gone to the next step yet. I haven't done grad school yet, but it's been pushed or said to me plenty that I definitely need to focus on research. Did you do the call giveaway? Yeah, I did the call giveaway. Hunter Bennett won that, so hopefully he has his call by now. Do I ever plan to come down to Utah? I don't, although there was a question, I believe it was asked on YouTube, or no, maybe it was asked on Instagram. If I could move to one state, what would it be? And it would probably either be Washington or Utah. I just love the variety of birds y'all get out there. Y'all have the Pacific Flyway limit of at 7. So Utah, I would love to come to. It's one of my places that's pretty high on the list that I want to visit, but I just haven't been able to get out there quite yet. So what wildlife experience do I have so far? In terms of management, nothing. So my my degree right now, the environmental science degree, is a pretty general basic degree. My college unfortunately just didn't offer any specific programs in terms of wildlife management. So I don't have any experience with that so far. But I'm hoping basically for my grad degree to be able to get some more experience in wildlife management. Where can I hunt in Virginia and how to find public lands to hunt on? So, if you guys want to find public lands to hunt on, go to the Virginia Department of Natural Resources. I think that's what's called now, or whatever it's called. And there's a page under like go to hunting, and then go. There's basically a map. There's a map that shows you all the public land in Virginia. People ask me this all the time, where to find places to hunt in Virginia, and there's literally a map that shows you all the public land in Virginia. So go there, look for stuff in your area, scout it, get out there, learn these spots. That's how you find public places to hunt. There's no magic wand to wave. You have to get out in the field, see stuff with your eyes, learn it, understand it. That's how you find these public spots to hunt. There's, like I said, nothing magic about it. So Daddy Duck asked, with the decline in the Atlantic Flyway, what was the most contributing factor for the waterfowl decline of the waterfowl? So that's what we don't know yet, Daddy Duck. Basically, what we've done so far is we've done the data collection portion, and we've got some preliminary results. And what we have to do next is the discussion, which is where we explain what we think the reasoning is behind it. If I were just to guess, I would say primarily habitat loss and degradation would be my number one. I think that's hurt the breeding population more than the wintering population. But if you just look at somewhere like the Chesapeake Bay, there's tons and tons and tons more waterfront homes and docks and people on the river than there used to be. So that's just in general going to disturb waterfowl more. And then also, someone said earlier, you have warming temperatures. One thing we saw in our study that was really cool was the decline, not cool, but interesting, was the decline of goldeneye. Goldeneye were a really prevalent bird, it seems like, in this region 40, 50, 60 years ago, and they just hardly ever show up here anymore. And maybe I'd say a third at most of the goldeneye abundance that we used to see still resides. So that's a species that I would say is probably a poster child for a decreased range due to climate change, and for them leaving this region due to climate change. We just don't get cold enough temperatures anymore to force the goldeneye down to us. So I think primarily the two that I would contribute to the losses that we've seen is habitat degradation and then a warming climate. Good to hear it, Brandon. That's good to hear. I definitely, I hope we can get this published. I really do think this is going to be something that I don't think it's going to be, make waves in the waterfowl community, but I do think it's going to be something that adds a significant amount to the waterfowl literature, especially for our locale. So yeah, Jesse, so to really look at contributing factors, we probably have to do, trial research instead of a general analysis, because what we did was more of an analysis than an experiment. We would have to do some experiments to be able to attribute the causes to the declines we saw. But like I said, I would say those are the contributing factors for me, in terms of what I've read. Uh, and, if y'all have any other things you think might be contributing, I'd love to hear them down below. Have I gone back to see how the millet is doing? I haven't, but I'm going back either tomorrow evening or I think we're probably going to do it Saturday. My buddy just went out there earlier this week and he said that we're starting to get some heads forming. So I'm really excited for that. We're going to do a 45-day update video because the one thing that was really a big question for me with this millet was that there was between um, a huge window between like 45 days and 90 days. Some people said it'll head out at 45 days, and some people said it'll head out at 90 days. So I'm not sure where that's going to lie for us. Maybe, we're getting heads right now, right around 45 days, but I'm not sure if it'll take until 90 days to fully head out. So we're going to do a 45-day update, probably a 60-day update, and then I'm not sure what we'll do after that, but definitely going to get back out to the millet this weekend, and that's probably going to be Sunday's video. Harvest Lucky Duck Outdoor Adventure said he harvested his first goldeneye last year in Oklahoma. Congrats, man! I've only ever harvested two goldeneye, both of them being hens. I'm still waiting on my first drake. Thanks, Marion. Yeah, I hope y'all are enjoying the Millet series. It seems to be a hit, so I'm gonna keep on, pumping out those videos, and I think we're probably gonna do more Millet projects next year, if this series keeps on doing well. Yeah, we haven't looked at weather trends, although that is, if we do kind of a branch off to this research, that's probably what I want to do. I'd really love to look at some direct correlations between temperature trends and then the overall abundance trends, which it's weird. Like the way we saw it, you could see dips in our graphs when you had really dry years, when the drought years of the 1980s and early 90s, there's a huge dip even for us, you can see it. Uh, and then also there's other times where it's like you just had a warm winter around here and you had a dip. So with the wintering thing, you have to look at overall bird numbers, and then also we have this weather thing. So it's kind of hard to balance them out and figure what's pulling more and what just has more weight. Yeah, I hope. Sorry about my ramble. Like I had a plan set out for how I was going to talk about this, and then I just kind of just went for it. First live stream, so just figuring it out. And I'm going to answer some more questions here in a second. It seems like the questions are still rolling in, so I'm going to keep on answering them here. If they slow down, we'll answer some of the questions from YouTube and Instagram. How old am I? I'm 20 years old, so I just turned 20 about a week and a half ago. So 20 years old now, not a teenager anymore. Can't do teenager stuff anymore, I guess. But looking forward to 20, and 21 is obviously has its perks, so I'll be looking forward to that one too. What's your prediction for this season in Virginia? So I've been telling people this, and hopefully I'm not wrong, and I don't want to jinx anything. Personally, I think we're in for. And I just knocked on wood too, so just to make sure. I'm personally predicting a good Virginia season this year. If you look at our weather trends, we typically don't have two. We don't typically have three unseasonably warm winters. We've had two unseasonably warm winters the last two winters. So I think hopefully we're due for a decent winter, coupled with the fact that it should be a good breeding season. It sounds like the breeding conditions were good at least through May and June. from what I heard. So hopefully those continue into July and August. And then lastly, I think, not having hunting in Canada, I don't think it's going to help a ton, but maybe, or not, no US travel to Canada. I think it probably will help a little bit. You- do I consider, yeah. So I think was the warmest. Last year was had Last year had the least amount of winter weather and winter temperatures than I ever remember having before in a winter in Virginia. We had some small cold snaps and some small cold fronts, but we really just were lacking in terms of overall a big cold snap. We never had one big one. So I do think we had a warm winter. I think we had a really warm winter last year, and we saw a huge dip in terms of our numbers. Uh, Overall, a big dip in numbers. I went over that in the video, but I think, yeah, that was, if we have another winter like that in the next 5 years, I'm going to be pretty disappointed because that was just at least for me, was a super warm winter. Definitely right, Jesse. Definitely right. Do I mostly hunt public or private? Now it's probably more private. Every year I hunt more and more private just because I have a bigger network of friends that I hunt with. I knock on more doors, and honestly, if I don't have to hunt public, I try not to. Virginia public just gets super crowded. I've had guys walk in on me a ton of times just hunting weekdays in on Virginia public land. So I just I try to stay off the public land now, and generally, I'd say it's probably 75-25 now, in terms of private to public. I can't say anything for Georgia, man. Y'all are a little bit further south. If the birds get into South Carolina, man, I'll be happy. I just want us to have some ice here this year. Got shoes that are 20 years old. Yep. So Daddy Duck asked if we had looked at unharvested grain fields north of our study area. We hadn't. I would like to look at that. I definitely think looking at that in terms of Pennsylvania, North New York, and some other places could be interesting. But there's been a lot of unharvested grain fields added in our region too. And I wouldn't say it's led to an overall increase in abundance. The eastern shore of Maryland and Virginia has plenty of flooded corn impoundments, and it's not any waterfowl mecca. Ever hunted Deal Island or Fishing Bay? Nope. I have never hunted anywhere on the eastern shore of Maryland or Virginia, but planning on hunting the eastern shore maybe this year. We'll see. I'm hoping to, though. Oh, what's up, Henry? Would I g- you get a shoveler mounted? Would I get a shoveler mounted? Yeah, I would. I 100% would. I would love to get a pretty Drake shoveler mounted. I think that would be awesome. So that would be high up on my list of birds to get mounted because that'd be a conversational piece too, man. You're gonna have plenty of people coming in your house trying to bash you for having a shoveler on the wall. So should break the ice at least. Do I prefer hunting flooded timber or marshes? Flooded timber, quite honestly. Um, I've hunted marshes from time to time, and for me, the marsh hunts that I've been on just tend to be earlier hunts. Like when we hunt marshes here in Virginia, it's typically a 15-minute hunt, and then you're pretty much done. At least with my experience with timber in Virginia, is that you can kind of have them coming in whenever. So I've just had better experience with timbery environments. I'm definitely getting the preseason jitters, man. I am pumped up. I think we're in for a really good goose season. I've seen so many geese this summer. It's incredible. So if nothing else, I think we should have a decent goose season. My prediction, I'm definitely not placing any bets on my prediction on our Virginia duck season, but I think we're in for a pretty decent September goose season here. So we only got, gosh, man, we got like 32 days now in Virginia. So it's getting close, boys. It's getting close. Wood ducks in the timber are a blast. Man, if you can hit a wood duck in the timber, you have my respect because I know I've seen a lot of guys get just embarrassed by wood ducks. End up 15, 20 shells deep in a hunt with one bird or no bird to show. They'll humble you pretty fast. All right, let's answer some questions off of the old Instagram. Some people left some questions over here, so I said I'd answer them too. Is the limit still one in the AP zone in Virginia? It is, and it probably will be for the next 2 seasons now. So, for those of you that don't know, eastern side of Virginia has a one goose limit, and because they didn't do the goose study this spring, I believe we'll also have the one goose limit next year, but don't hold me on that one either. No way. That's really, Henry. That's super funny. I'll have to ask who your uncle is. I saw that Matt snagged some dive bombs. I've been looking at dive bombs for a long time. I would love to get some silhouettes. I've also heard really good things about big owls too. So I'm still just kind of on the fence here. I'm probably going to pick some up before our September season. So be on the lookout for me to maybe do an unboxing video. I might have to go with the big owls because Matt got the dive bombs. I kind of want to do a little bit of a comparison to his. All right, y'all, drop it in the comment section when y'all's September goose season opens up if y'all have one. Uh, do all of them open up on September 1st or do they open up later? I'm not sure on that one. Guilty on the wood chicken. Yep, still one in Maryland too. Yeah, man, it's a sad day for it's been a couple sad years for the AP geese, man. I saw so many geese last year. Even on a warm year, I saw so many geese. So, I don't know. That's the one limit I really don't agree with. I definitely think we should still be at 2 for the AP geese. Like Carson, I did just say that I think we're gonna have a cold winter. Like I said, if you look at the graph, the eastern side of Virginia, we do have or the eastern side of the U.S. has a lot of warm winters, but it's very untypical for us to have three in a row. So that's what I'm gonna be betting on. I'm hoping it's gonna ring true. Trip Coleman, I'll make sure to ask him. That's good to hear. I don't want to mispronounce your name, Sibdiros. Good to hear. I've talked to some people all across at least the Atlantic Flyway this spring and summer, and I've been asking a lot of people what they saw in terms of a goose hatch, and pretty much everybody said they saw more geese in their area than they typically do. So yeah, so Virginia has our limit in Virginia. So our September season runs September 1st through the 25th. We have a 10 bird a day limit, and and we don't get to use so we have to use plugged guns as well. No electronic collar either. So we don't get some of the cool stuff that New York gets in terms of a resident season, but we do have a pretty liberal resident season. So I'm always thankful for that. Opinion on Avian X. I love Avian X. It's pretty much all I use. Um, they hold up well for me. I just I'm kind of a Avian X guy. Some people are Greenhead Year guys. Some guys are Dakota guys. I'm just an Avian X guy. So I have a lot of Avian X. I've shot a lot of my Avian X decoys, and all of them still float, which is a big testament for me. I appreciate hearing it. Yup. I always like to hear the feedback, even if it's might not be exactly what I'm looking at. Open September 5th. Good to hear. Prettiest duck in my opinion. Prettiest duck hands down gotta be the wood duck, man. If you're just talking pretty, I think you could have some other arguments in terms of maybe the coolest looking or I don't know. But in terms of just pretty, if I was gonna use the word pretty, it's gotta be the woody, in my opinion. Come hunt with Matt in Western Nebraska. I want to. I definitely want to. I want to get out on those little warm water slough hunts he does because those are awesome. But I've been talking to him about maybe coming out for teal season, so we'll see. No promises, but if my classes go online, I might just have to see if we can't get on some teal hunts. September 12th in Oklahoma. Gotcha. Yeah, man, some cold makes all the difference on in our flyway. If you the 16-17 season was or no, 17-18 season was lights out for the people who were able to get out and hunt during the freezing temperatures. You got a lot of I have some dove hunts planned. My dove hunting situation kind of changes from year to year. So some years I have a lot of opportunities, and some years I don't have a ton. It's looking like this year is going to shape up to be not a lot of opportunity, just because a lot of the stuff in my area got planted with beans instead of corn, and we almost always hunt the doves over corn. So, um, not sure how much I'll be getting out for doves, but I'm sure I'll at least get out for the opener and probably some of the following weekends as well. Uh, that's nice, Jesse. That's nice. No plugs, 10 hours, 15 bird limit. That's nice for sure. Virginia does have an early wood duck season, so we open up for 4 days in early October, and you can shoot whatever then. So it's not just wood ducks, but primarily we harvest wood ducks during that season. Do we have a DU chapter at my school? We do not. So there's two schools in my town. There's my school and then another school, and the other school does have a DU chapter. So a couple of the guys in my videos, I actually met them through not really through their DU chapter, but they ran the DU chapter there. So I'm not a participant in that because I don't go to their college. But and my college, quite honestly, just doesn't have enough interest for a DU club. I'd probably be like the founding member and the only member, quite honestly. There's a lot of girls that go to my school, so uh, I wish we did have a DU chapter, but I just don't think it's in the writing for my school. Can you expect any deer, bear, or other hunts? Maybe a deer hunt. There was a few people who asked for that in the channel update, so we might do a couple deer hunts this year. We do have like a big gap between our October season and our November season here, so I might try and stick a deer with the bow. The only thing is I got to practice with my bow to do that. I don't want to just take my bow out and try and shoot something without me getting a lot of practice in. So if I'm able to get some practice in with the bow before bow season, we might try and go stick a deer. Henry, I'll definitely come on. I'll definitely come up there. Just let me know. Yeah, I've never got to hunt geese on a golf course. I think that would be interesting. I'm not sure if it would be. We've talked about this before actually on some Flyweight Collective streams. I think it would be a cool and interesting hunt, but man, that's got to be a little weird shooting them geese on the golf course. They got to be extra stupid then. Would I take 10K cash to not waterfowl hunt this season? No, nah, man. You never know when you're not going to be able to waterfowl hunt anymore for whatever reason. So I want to make sure I can get as much waterfowl hunting in as I can, especially when I'm young and I still got the body to do it, to go wherever I want to go. I'm not the person to ask for teal tips, whiz kid. I've literally never killed a blue wing teal. I've only ever killed a couple green wing teal. So am I ignoring? No. So I'm not the person to ask for teal. There's plenty of guys on YouTube who know a ton about teal hunting, especially early season teal hunting, but that's not me. Am I gonna do any kayak float shoots this year? Yes, I'm really hoping to. I know a lot of y'all seem to like those videos, the jump shoot videos I've done, especially out of the kayak in the past. And quite honestly, we have to have cold weather to be able to do those. The birds don't get on those rivers unless it gets really cold. So if we get a cold winter, I'll for sure be doing some jump shooting. But we got to have the weather to be able to make it happen. Jackson, I'm not trying to ignore you. If you asked a question earlier, I'm not sure if maybe I missed it. Best tasting duck. That one's also got to be either wood duck or green wing teal for me. Those ones go neck and neck. I think Most of the wood ducks I've had, though, would take the cake for best tasting. Diver hunts or puddle duck hunts? Definitely puddler hunts. I just like the way that puddlers work. I like the environments that you get to. I especially like the environments you get to hunt puddlers in. I'm a big fan of swamps. I'm a big fan of timber stuff, whatever it might be. So I do enjoy hunting open water, and it's a fun change of pace when you get to do it. But for me, I'm more of a puddler guy. Austin, you dirty dog. I'm not answering that question. All right, any more questions? I'll answer some off Instagram here because I haven't got a chance to answer those yet. So we'll hit those real quick. Andrew Nix 2023 asked black duck or pintail. If I could pick one, it would be the pintail for me, but that's just because I've got to shoot a bunch of not a bunch, but a handful of black ducks before. So I, for me, it's definitely the pintail. For guys out on the Texas coast, they're probably screaming black duck at the screen right now. But for me, it would be pintail just because we don't see them a ton in Virginia. Do I have a TikTok? I do. VA Outdoors Unlimited. I don't really use it that often. I haven't used it in about 2 weeks, so I'm probably gonna start recording some videos on that again come waterfowl season. I'm just not the biggest fan of having the Chinese spy on me, but I'll give them a little bit of info, I guess. Yeah, unless it's canvasbacks, are kind of the exception to that. If someone invited me out on a canvasback hunt to go and watch thousands of cans fly around, I'd probably take that over most puddle duck hunts. Yeah, Austin. Yeah, call up the local CPO and see what he has to say about that. As long as it's all gone 10 days before season, it's perfectly legal. All right, let's answer some more off Instagram. Talk about the difficulties getting into the field and the effort you have to put into it. Randy asked that question. The difficulties for me getting into the field is typically just the kayak paddle. That's typically when I have my most work cut out. If I can, a lot of the areas that I hunt, if I had to walk and hunt them, I would be dying by the time I got to my spots. But mainly, the main stuff I have to deal with going in is portages in my kayak. If I have to make a portage, that's typically going to be pretty tough, or just paddling up current if I'm paddling upstream to hunt a river location or whatever. But most of the stuff I have to deal with um, is has to do with that. All right, we got some more questions in here, so we'll answer some more of these. Yes, Matt, I would love to come on a canvasback hunt, but if you were a little bit closer, that'd be easier. If I could own property anywhere in the U.S. just to hunt, where would it be? If I, oh, that's an interesting question. For me, I'd probably say Washington State. Again, I think the Pacific Flyway just has a lot of different stuff to offer that the Atlantic Flyway doesn't, and a lot of it is different than the Atlantic Flyway. There's not a ton of overlap over there in terms of there is some overlap for species and stuff like that, but there's also a lot of cool new species that I could get out there. So I think I've always kind of just liked different stuff, mixing it up. So for me, that would be a cool little change of pace. Oh, got you, Randy. Yeah, Daffy Duck. I've had a little bit more. When I'm not walking in mud, I don't have any issues. The issue is when I'm walking in mud. I don't know if I've been on a hunt in a muddy environment where I haven't fell down. The thing is, it's not trying not to fall, it's knowing how to fall. You have to get good at falling. So after a while, you understand how to fall and not get yourself muddy or wet or whatever. So that's the battle for me at least. All right, answer some more off Instagram real quick. Where do I want to end up with my career, position, state, agency? For I don't know. I honestly wouldn't like if I could work in the private sector, I'd ideally like to work in the private sector over the public sector. Not the biggest fan of big government, so if I could, stay out of government's pocket, that would be ideal. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like I think Delta Waterfowl, working for Delta Waterfowl would be cool. I love their mission and that they're there for the waterfowl hunter. Obviously, Ducks Unlimited's I'd say more well known than Delta, but I think Delta is a super cool organization. Nothing against Ducks Unlimited either. That'd be another one I would definitely be interested to work with. But I think they have a little bit of a different mission than Delta, and that's an important distinction to make. Oh man, avoiding stingrays during duck season. I luckily we don't have that. I'm waiting for the day that we have to start messing with alligators, man. The alligators are already up in North Carolina, so it can't be too much longer before they make their way up to Virginia. When will I get a dog? Probably 2 to 3 years. That's what I'd say. As soon as I get out of college and I have my own place, gonna get a dog for sure. Just can't do it yet. When will I snag a wife? As I'm gonna put that one off as long as I possibly can. All I've heard about wives is that they are anti duck hunting. I haven't met many chicks yet that are pro duck hunting. So the day I do meet a pro duck hunting chick might be the day I become a married man, but especially one that'll go duck hunting with me. But yeah, I'm gonna try and push that boat off for as long as possible. Do I shoot skeet very often? No, I've never shot skeet actually. It's probably partially due to that's probably part of the reason for some of my bad shooting, especially at the beginning of the waterfowl season typically. But I've never shot skeet at a skeet range. I have shot some hand thrown skeet before, or some clay pigeons, hand thrown clay pigeons, just to mess around. But I've never shot like a real round of skeet or anything like that. My Instagram is also VA Outdoors Unlimited. So if y'all don't follow that, y'all can follow that as well. See, all right, y'all. What y'all got to know is that Mac and Austin are trying to sabotage me here. They're my hunting buddies, and they're just they're asking me all these questions that I can't really answer on here. I do not kiss each duck I shoot. That's Mac. Which shotgun are you shooting this season? I'm shooting the Franke Affinity 3. I've been shooting that for just over a year. Well, just about a year now. I'm gonna do a review on that soon. I said I'd do it soon, so that'll be coming out in one of probably next week's videos. But I really like that gun. It shot really well. I had a couple issues with rust. Nothing huge, and we'll talk about that in that video. But in terms of just shooting and how that gun fit me, way better than any gun I've ever shot before. And my shooting percentage went up like 10 to 15% this season without me doing any additional practicing. So I think that Franke is a pretty sweet gun. What's my favorite duck? Probably the widgeon. If I, widgeon still kind of has my heart. That was like when I was just getting into waterfowl hunting. Like I think everybody probably picks a bird. They're like, "Oh, that bird's so cool," and that was it for me. And then I spent 2 seasons without hardly seeing a widgeon. So when I eventually shot one, it was really, really cool. And they're still just an awesome bird. They decoy extremely well. I've yet to have a widgeon decoy that or I've yet to have a widgeon come in and not decoy well. They just seem to decoy really, really well. And then they're a beautiful bird. A plumed up Drake widgeon is one of the prettiest birds in my opinion. Yes, I want to go on a coot hunt. I've never shot a coot. That's what most people don't. That's probably the biggest thing most people don't know about me. They think I've shot coots. I've never shot a coot. I want to shoot coots. Uh, coots destroy the canvasback and redhead nests. Of course, people also like the coots because they're free live decoys also. So that's Matt's argument behind it. But I would love to get out on a coot shoot. What's my preferred choke tube? My go-to choke tube is a Carlson's light modified choke tube. I think it was a choke tube made for skeet. So it's like here, I'll show y'all actually. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, I don't have it right here. Where is it? All right. I don't know where it is. But basically it's just an extended choke tube. It's a light modified. Um, I think a lot of people, there's so much division about this choke tube thing that I don't really talk about it very much. But I like a light modified constriction for what I do. I do a lot of wood duck hunting. I do a lot of puddle duck hunting. I'm not really having to reach out beyond 35 or 40 yards on most of my hunts. So a light modified gives me the pattern I want for the kill shots I'm taking most of the time. What am I in college for? Environmental science. That's my major, and then also I have a minor in business management for kind of the YouTube thing. The longer I'm married, the happier she is to go hunting. See, I need one that's happy to go hunting from like the get go. That's going to be the issue with me. Do I enjoy upland hunting? I do. I've have pretty limited experience with upland bird hunting, but I love squirrel hunting, love rabbit hunting, love deer hunting. Grew up grouse hunting a little bit, so I love grouse hunting too. Uh, Upland hunting is very different, and like I said, I enjoy different. So I do like getting out on upland hunts, and I try to get out on at least a couple every year. But as the waterfowl bug gets me more and more, it's harder for me to find that time to get out on those upland hunts. All right. We got a lot of questions in here now. It's just a little bit tough for I'm trying to keep up. We do have a Flyways Collective hunt plan for this year. Can't say where we're going to be at. We're going to release that really soon, but we do have a hunt planned. It's going to be a little bit of a longer hunt than last year, so I'm really excited. Y'all be keeping your eyes and ears peeled for that one. I think it's going to be an awesome collab this year. How do I usually cook my duck? My go-to is poppers. It's hard to beat jalapeno poppers, in my opinion. I've had a lot of different recipes, and whole roasted duck is probably still my overall favorite. But just for my go-to, quick, simple, easy, poppers are just they're just so easy. That's the thing about them. Yeah, let's do it, Daniel. I'd love to get a quail hunt up on the channel. What ducks are on my hit list this year? A Virginia pintail, a Virginia shoveler. I want to get one of those in Virginia, and then canvasback drake. A canvasback was right up there with the widgeon for me when I was getting into waterfowl hunting, and I've only shot a canvasback hen. So canvasback drake, I still need to get, and then for me, I'd like to get a sand. I want to get a sandhill crane this year, and maybe a speckled belly. So that'll I can talk about some stuff that might be going on with that later this year. But those are my two that I really want to get: a speckled belly and a sandhill crane. Uh, in terms of species, we're gonna do some more hunting cooks this year. Y'all seem to be liking the cooking videos, and I was always really not into the cooking videos because I'm just not a great chef. But y'all seem to like the couple I did, or the one I did during turkey season. So we will do some duck cooking videos this fall. How's the pond doing? Pond is doing really well. I said at the beginning of the video, but we're starting to get some seed heads. My buddy went out there Tuesday, so we're gonna have another video from the Millet Pond probably coming out Sunday. We're gonna do a 45-day update, and I'm really looking forward to it. We've had a couple really big rains the past couple of weeks, so I'm hoping the Millet's gonna be doing really well. My first dream duck I ever got. That one's hard to say because, I think you probably have some ducks that you kind of characterize as dream ducks that probably aren't, but I'd say for me it was that widgeon. Like that was if I was gonna pick one duck that was always in the back of my head, I was always waiting to hear that whistle. That whistle always gets me excited. The doo doo doo. So for me, that had to be my dream duck. I also really want to shoot a blue-winged teal still. I split on a blue-winged teal a couple years ago, but I need to shoot my own blue-winged teal. So that's kind of my another one I want to knock out this year. You just want a Drake Mallard. Go to Nebraska. Matt'll put you on some. Man, cinnamon teal and shovelers. That's an awesome mix. I would love to just shoot cinnamon teal and shovelers. Yeah, I would definitely like Utah, it sounds like. Daffy Duck, I will shoot you a message about that because I might be in your locale later on this winter. When I went to Kansas, for me, when I went to Kansas, I had three on my list at that point. At that point, I had never shot a redhead, never shot a pintail, never shot a shoveler. So I was able to knock all three of those off my list in Kansas. But for me, the number one was pintails. Um, we get some redheads in Virginia, we get some shovelers in Virginia, we do get some pintails in Virginia, but I've definitely the pintail seemed more elusive for me at that point. Wow, guys, we've been going for an hour here. I want to say a huge thank you. We've had 30 plus viewers in here this whole time, it seems like. So, huge thank y'all. If y'all haven't hit the like button, if y'all aren't subscribed to the channel, which I'm assuming most y'all are, um, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're going to wrap this up here soon. I'm going to keep on answering questions for a little bit longer. I still have a couple more to answer on Instagram, but keep on dropping them down below and I'll keep on answering them. Did I make you mad? No, Jackson, you didn't make me mad. I just wanted to know what you were asking about. I didn't know if I didn't want to be ignoring you. Favorite choke and shell combination. So I don't have, this is another one people ask me a lot. I don't have a favorite shell. If I could shoot one shell all year long, it would probably be Boss. I've had really good luck with Boss. I've shot Boss on a few different hunts last year and was really, really impressed by it. But for me, I'm still on a college budget. I buy what I can when I have the money to. So I kind of just bounce around for whatever. I typically, though, I'm shooting 3-inch number twos through a light modified choke tube. That is almost always what I'm doing. If I am going to be hunting teal or wood ducks, I'll drop down to fours. If I'm going to be hunting geese, I might go up to a BB. But it's almost always 3-inch number twos through a light modified choke tube. Yeah, there are not many pintails here, that's for sure. Carson, I'm trying to get down to NC for a hunt this year. I'm gonna really hoping to. So NC is probably gonna have some North Carolina videos on the channel this year. See you, Matt. Thanks for joining in. I know this has been a pretty long live stream. I was not planning for it to go this long, but y'all just been keeping on asking the questions. Do I think the pulsator butt made a difference in the spread? Yes. So I think so. Here's a quick little thing. Higdon pulsators really like them. I think they're a great product. The issue I had with them was durability. My first one broke after about 6 months, which they were nice enough to send me out a new part. All I had to do was pay for shipping, I believe. Um, so I've had good experience with them. They make a lot of ripples. The thing is, you have to have quite a few of them to match what a jerk string can do. So I do still bring my Higdon pulsator. I have one Higdon pulsator, but the jerk rig that I have, the Motion Ducks Ultimate Decoy Spreader, it just moves so much more water that it kind of makes my one pulsator obsolete. Yeah, that's the crazy thing, Connor. Like I've heard that wood ducks are extremely coveted over there, um, and we have them thick over here, and then it's just crazy how that works. Different birds are common all over the place. That's the cool thing about waterfowling in the U.S. especially. Yes, yep, Jesse. I drew a swan tag for Virginia last year. Didn't get to use it. I was, kind of hoping to get an opportunity to go on a swan hunt in Virginia. I went on a bunch of duck hunts where we had the hope of maybe getting a swan. But if I am able to put in for if if it's looking like I'll be able to get down there, when I would have the swan tag, I will put in for one for North Carolina this year. Sounds good, Brandon. I will let you know. All right, I'm gonna finish up these questions on Instagram and YouTube, and then we will wrap this up. Someone asked how well did the millet work? Millet's worked really well. The millet grows so easily. That's the thing. Like it's just so much easier than everything else. I don't think that's where the biggest advantage for me is, at least from what I've seen so far. How often do I scout old spots and new spots? That depends. Typically during duck season, if I know a spot is dependably good, I'll try and scout it at least once a week. And then I try to spend every other moment that I'm not scouting spots that I already know to scout new spots. For me, the biggest key is just learning new areas. You're not going to find new spots without getting out and seeing stuff in person, really. There's only so much you can do looking online. So when the ducks are here, I try to spend as much time as I can in the field, and probably, like I said, scouting new spots about once a week, or old spots about once a week. How do I find all my public land? Already said it, but there is a map on the Virginia Game and Inland Fisheries Department page. You can find it on there. Do I know if snow geese are causing damage to the tundra? I don't personally. We've heard a lot about it. The thing with hunters that I always find interesting with the tundra thing is, we have the conservation season because we want to go out and get rid of all these geese, but we're still cheering on good snow goose hatches. So I understand why we do that. It's hard to kill the adults without the juveniles, but it always does seem funny to me that we have this big conservation season and then we're still hoping for a good hatch from the snow geese. But it does sound, from everything I've heard, the tundra, or from everything I've heard, the snow geese are doing a lot of damage to the tundra. And if anybody has anything to contradict that, I'd like to hear it. Tips for someone starting their own YouTube or vlog. For me, the two biggest things for YouTube is, one, just be relatable. Show things that people can relate to, hunts that people can relate to. And then two, you just got to put out videos. If you're not putting out videos, there's not going to be anything for people to see. So I get that question a lot. Figured, that's really the main two for me. I think I've okay. I think I've answered all of these. Yep. All right. I think we've answered pretty much everything. Let's see if we got any more questions in the YouTube. I have not. So we haven't seen. That's the kind of we haven't seen any ducks at the pond since we planted the millet. We had some there right before we planted the millet, but we haven't seen any there since. So I'm hoping we don't see anything until right at the beginning of September, and then we start having some geese hit it, and we can hunt some geese over that some of the millet. My main stuff for the 2021 off season so far has just been mainly the habitat stuff. I will start, August is mainly the month where I start getting my gear ready and stuff like that. So main stuff has been the millet, and then I've been just doing some more scouting, finding some new spots and stuff. So that's been the main thing really. All right, I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss anything else on the YouTube page, and then we will finish this one up. I appreciate all y'all hanging with me there. We got off to a little bit of a rough start. I just went for it, but y'all seem to enjoy this. And man, y'all have asked so many questions. I didn't think y'all had this many questions for me. See you, Connor. I definitely will let you know if I'm ever able to make it out to Utah. Matt asked any hunting trips planned for this year. My main hunting trips are going to be the Flyways Collective, probably going to North Carolina, and then we'll see where else kind of the waterfowl season takes me. Those are the main two that I'm going to be trying to do. How old am I? 20. I said that one a little bit earlier. keep doing these streams. Thanks, guys. I will keep doing these. Y'all seem to really enjoy them, so we'll try and get on a couple more of these. So, Craig, we'll finish up with a Craig Katz question. One thing I gotta give a big shout out to, one person I gotta give a big shout out to, Craig Katz. Craig has sent me some calls, so he just sent me this new double reed duck call. I'll blow it for y'all real quick. Won't do a hail call just so I don't blow out anybody's eardrums. But yeah, big thanks to Craig, and he asked what my typical decoy spread looks like. My typical decoy spread for most of our waterfowl season here in Virginia consists of 6 black ducks and 6 mallards, plus I match anything else that I see. Um, so if there's gadwalls in the area, I'll bring some gadwall decoys. If there's woodies in the area, I'll bring some wood duck decoys. But I'm almost always bringing 6 black ducks and 6 mallards because those mallard drakes, they stand out incredibly well. Those black ducks, they stand out incredibly well. So I want stuff that can be seen while not having a ton of decoys out, and I typically put at least 7 of those decoys on a jerk rig on the motion ducks spreader. So I like to go small spread, lots of motion. Black ducks, mallards, typically some woodies in there too, especially earlier in the season. What will I name my future dog? So my dad had a dog. My dad's first dog was named Drake. So pretty typical name there, which I probably would name it Drake if it was a boy, just because the dog I grew up with was named Drake. So I kind of want another Drake. If it was a female, I'm not sure. I might go with something different for the guy too. Now that I say that, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'd be up for ideas to hear ideas. I'm not the best at naming stuff, so um, yeah. All right, y'all. We will wrap this one up here. Like I said, thank you everybody who tuned in today. I had so much fun with this, getting to answer y'all's questions. Y'all asked so many questions. I can't believe how many questions y'all had. Um, And this is, nice little change of pace. Sorry I didn't have a video coming out for y'all today. I've been a little bit lazy this week on the video side of things, but gonna get back out to the millet pond. Y'all really seem to be liking those videos, so I'm gonna keep on pumping them out. And we will have some more review videos, some more videos talking tips and scouting and stuff like that coming out real soon. So I hope everybody enjoyed. If anybody has any last questions, get them in now because we will wrap this up within next couple minutes. And hit that like button if you guys haven't done so already. It does help out these videos. Uh, so if y'all haven't hit it already, please click that thumbs up. All right, I'm not getting any new questions rolling in. Gotta meet the. That's definitely true. Yup, I think that's a big contingent of it. I want a name that's gonna fit the dog. Am I gonna hunt the Potomac River? Probably this year. Yeah, probably actually. So for those of you, one last thing to cut in here. Uh, if for those of you that don't know, I'm recording podcasts now. I'm part of the Fowl Front Waterfowl podcast. So we have a co-host that actually just moved from Texas to Northern Virginia, and he's going to be hunting down at Wide Water. So I'm gonna probably hopefully get on a hunt with him in hopefully we'll get on some hunts in October and November. But I can't say for certain, but I definitely do want to hunt the Potomac, some different birds out there than I typically get on. Dream duck anywhere in the world. Probably a Eurasian widgeon. Eurasian widgeon are just so dang cool that I can't think of any other bird that right now for me would top the list instead of Eurasian widgeon. Buddy and River. See, yeah, those are great names, Craig. I definitely uh, would entertain some. I like the name River for a dog. That's a good name for sure. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and click end stream. Like I said, thanks to everybody who joined in today. Gonna have another video out for y'all Sunday, so be on the lookout for that.